Hello everyone, and in this video we're going to look at the present simple. Very important verb tense in English. Okay, it's very important to know the form and when you need to use it. Okay, so let's look at some rules and some examples as well in this video. So how to form it. Okay, I just put the most important verbs here. So the most important verb is the verb to be. Okay, I am, you are, he is, she is, we are, and they are. Okay, it's very important that you know this for many things in English. And then we have regular verbs, okay, like, I like, you like, he likes, she likes, we like, and they like. Okay, the S is on the third person, which is he, she, or it. Okay, so let's look at when you use the present simple. So it's for things in general, right? When things are just in general, this is the way it is. Okay, like present simple is an English verb tense. Okay, it's just a general statement. Okay, and also when you talk about yourself, it's for habits and routines. Okay, and we also use adverbs of frequency. That's like always and often and this type of thing. I have another video that you can watch on that. Okay, and let's look at some negative sentences, how to form the negative sentences. So we use don't for negative sentences except the verb to be. Okay, so it's very irregular, the verb to be. So I don't like tennis. I am not from Denmark. Okay, so you can see it's different with the verb to be. So if you can write some more examples of this in the comments, that would be great. And questions. How do we make questions in the present simple? So we use do or does for questions except the verb to be. Okay, so why do we use do? It really just shows that this is a sentence. Okay, so you say, do you need? And then when you understand that, you say, this is a question. Okay, so do you like tennis? Do you like tennis? And am I from Denmark? Okay, so we just invert the subject and the verb to be, am, in this case. So imagine another sentence. You are from Denmark. Okay, you are from Denmark. And then you change the you and the are, and you say, are you from Denmark, in the question form. Okay, so it's a little bit easier to know that it's a question when we're not using the verb to be. Okay. So there's the inversion there. So some examples here. This is the general facts that I said before. Doctors look after patients in hospitals. Okay, that's just a general statement, right? Everywhere around the world. Okay, Brazil is a big country. Okay, that's just a general fact. Okay, there's nothing else you can say about that. And then the habits and routines that we also use the present simple for. I usually go out for dinner on Fridays. I wake up at 6 a.m. every day. Okay, so this is usually the first thing you learn in English, this kind of routine, and you notice that you use the present simple for this. In this video, we're going to look at the present continuous. Okay, so we're going to look at rules and example sentences for beginners. So how do you form the present continuous? So use I plus the verb to be in the present, I am, and you use play, the verb, plus ing. I am playing, and then you are playing, he is playing, she is playing, we are playing, and they are playing. Okay, so if you take another verb like do, then you just add ing. I am doing, you are doing, so you just add ing to the main form of the verb. Okay, so when do you use the present continuous? So things happening now or near now. Okay, so right now I am recording a video. I am recording a video. You are watching a video. Okay? And plans in the future, especially with other people. Okay, so I am meeting my parents for dinner. Okay, it's in the future, but it's a plan, so that's when we use the present continuous. Okay, let's look at how to make negative sentences in the present continuous. So we use not for negative sentences. Okay, I am not playing tennis. I am not traveling to Denmark. Notice where not is positioned. So I am not. I am not doing that. And for questions, we invert the verb to be for questions. So remember, we have I am. So it will be am I. Okay, so here we have some examples here. Are you playing tennis? Am I traveling to Denmark? So we invert the am and the I to make the question. So let's look at some examples here. I am speaking English now. Yes, it's true. And I am learning Spanish. Okay, so do you remember I said it's something happening now or near now? So it's like it's in the process, right? I'm not learning Spanish right now at this minute. But in general, in my life, I am learning Spanish now. Okay. And some plans in the future. So I am playing tennis next week. Okay, it's more common to use the present continuous here because you play tennis with other people, okay, usually. And I am meeting my parents for dinner this evening, let's say. So it's in the future and we use the present continuous. In this video, let's talk about adverbs of frequency, especially in the present simple. It's very common to use adverbs of frequency. Okay, so basically the question is, how often do you do something? And then you say some of these most common examples, right? You can use always, and that's 100% of the time. Usually, around 80% of the time. Often, 60% of the time. Sometimes, 50% of the time. Hardly ever, practice that one. Hardly ever is 10% of the time, and never is 0% of the time. Let's look at some examples now in the present simple. Okay, so always. I always arrive on time. That's 100% of the time, so you are never late. Okay, I always wake up at 8 a.m. I always brush my teeth in the morning. Let's look at more examples. So I usually take the bus to school, but sometimes I walk. I usually take a shower at night. I sometimes have cake after dinner. Okay, so it's just sometimes. Maybe Monday you have cake, maybe Tuesday no cake, Wednesday you have cake, something like that. I sometimes study at night, but usually I study in the morning. Okay, hardly ever. This is when it's rare, right? It's not common. So I hardly ever go to the cinema. I hardly ever eat Indian food. I never drink vodka. Never. Okay, 0% of the time. I never spoke to her again. So let's look at the rules and the position, okay, of the adverbs of frequency. So adverbs of frequency come before the main verb, except for the verb to be. So to be is an exception, right? Let's look at some examples. So I never spoke to her again. So never is before spoke, which is the main verb. Okay, so it's usually before the main verb, except for the verb to be. It comes after the verb to be. So let's look. I am never tired. So I am never tired. and never comes after the verb to be. So if you use always, then you say, I am always tired. Okay, today we're going to learn about subject and object pronouns. Okay, what is a pronoun? A pronoun replaces a noun, right? A noun is a person, a place, or a thing. Okay, so let's think about a person, right? My name is Connor. Okay, that's a noun. Connor is a noun because it's a name. And we can replace this with I. That's a subject pronoun. Okay, so when we want to say a sentence in English, I don't need to say Connor goes to the shop. Connor does that. No, I can say I go to the shop. Okay, let's look at some examples of how subject and object pronouns work. So, a subject pronoun is at the beginning of the sentence, right? So it's the subject of the sentence. It's the person that does the action, okay? So we say, I bought a cake. I did the action, okay? So let's look at some more examples here. I play tennis. You dance tango. He likes coffee. She dreams about cats. We live here. And they love art. Okay, so these are all subject pronouns. These people do the action. So here we have subject and object pronouns. So the subject, right, is I, you, he, she, we, and they. And then the object is me, you, him, her, us, and them. Let's look more about object pronouns now. So object pronouns receive the action, okay? They come after the verb, right? So the subject pronoun comes first, and then after the verb comes the object pronoun. Let's look at some examples. She loves me, okay? So in this case, I am the person that receives the love, okay? So she gives the love and I receive the love. Let's look at some more examples. He talked to me. I hit you. John knows him. Peter plays with her. Okay, think about this example, right? Her. Who is she? In the sentence before, probably we mentioned, oh, Jane goes to school over there, and then you can say Peter plays with her. We know that we're talking about Jane. Okay, let's look at more examples. They live with us. Alice drives them to school. Hello and welcome to this next lesson. This, that, these, and those. And these are demonstrative pronouns. Okay, so let's have a look at when to use them. So when a noun is singular, then we use this when it's something near, and when something far, then we use that. And when the noun is plural, then we use these, and if the noun is plural and far, then we use those. Let's look at some examples that will help. Okay, so this, practice the pronunciation. This tree is beautiful. Okay, you can see that the man is standing next to the tree. Okay, the tree is the noun here, and it's singular, right? He's near the tree, and it's singular. Okay, now we have these. These trees are beautiful. Listen to the difference between this and these. And these trees are beautiful. Okay, this is for the plural. Okay, it's still near him, but it's plural. This, these. Now let's look at that. Okay, that tree is beautiful. Okay, so let's remember this one. That is singular, right? That tree, and it's far. Okay, So let's move me here. And you can see that it's far, okay? So that tree is beautiful. And those is for plural. Look at the S. Those trees are beautiful. So those is for something far, okay? Far and plural, okay? So let's look at the negative form now. Those trees aren't beautiful, okay? So you add the not to the are not beautiful. And question form, are those trees beautiful? Are those trees beautiful? Hello everyone, and in this video we are going to talk about how much and how many. So specifically we're going to talk about questions and answers and give some examples. So let's start. How much, okay, we use how much with uncountable nouns, okay. These are the nouns where it's very difficult to count, right? 1, 2, 3, it's difficult to do that. And maybe because there are lots of this thing, it usually comes in a big size, or maybe because it's a liquid, okay, and it's difficult to count how much of the liquid there is. And we also use how much for price, okay? So if you just say how much, usually people are thinking the price. How much does it cost, okay? And how many we use with countable nouns, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, there are 4 pens. How many pens are there? Okay, let's look at some examples, some questions and answers. So look at this. It's difficult to see from the picture, but that is rice. So how much rice do you have? Okay, it's difficult to count that. It's uncountable. And the answer, we have a full bag. Okay, how much rice do you have? The next one, we're going to talk about this person's hair. Okay, how much hair do you have? I have long, spiky hair. Okay, or I have a lot of hair. Okay, here's a coffee. How much is a coffee? Okay, so in this case, we are talking about the price, right? How much is a coffee? It is $3. Okay, that's the answer. Okay. How many cans are there? Okay, these are cans of vegetables. There are 3 cans. Okay, cats. What do you think? How many or how much? How many cats do you have? Okay, you can count them. 1, 2, 3. I have 9 cats. Okay. Let's look at this example, pizza. So how much pizza do you want? Okay, it's kind of uncountable, the amount that maybe somebody wants from this pizza. You say just a little. But you can also say, how many slices of pizza do you want? So sometimes we can use both how many and how much with the same noun, but we need to add something like slices. So for example, water. Water is uncountable usually. So you say, how much water do you need? But then you think of a bottle of water. Bottle of water is countable. So you say, how many bottles of water do you want? Hello everybody, and in this video we're going to talk about the ing plus verbs rules, okay? Specifically, we're going to look at like, hate, love, plus enjoy. And as you can see on the screen now, they are separate, right? So I'm going to show you a little bit more about how to use these verbs. So let's get started. So let's look at the rules now. Every time you use the verbs like, love, hate, and enjoy, you need to use another verb, okay? Well, you can use another noun, like I like coffee. Coffee is a noun. But if you want to show an action, then you have to say I like making a cake, for example. So let's look at some more examples here. So I love playing tennis. I like watching TV after dinner. I hate eating and walking at the same time. I enjoy playing tennis. Okay, as you can see, all of the second verbs are in the ing form. Playing, watching. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about that now. So, is it ing or to? If you think about some verbs like want, it's always to. I want to go to the shop, right? You can't say I want going to the shop. That's to. So all of these verbs that we're talking about today use the ing. But let's look at this in more detail now. So like, hate, and love usually take the ing form. Okay, so it is possible to use the to form with these three verbs. But with enjoy, enjoy always takes the ing form. You can't use to with enjoy. Okay, so let's think a little bit more between the ing or to with like, hate, and love. So there is a small difference between when you use ing or to with these verbs. Okay, so let's look at some examples. I like waking up early. Okay, so it just means in general. When we want to say that you like something generally, um, you use the ing form. But if you want to use the to form, then you say, I like to wake up early. Okay, so it's something that is your preference, right? You think that it's a good idea. So both are correct here. Let's look at another example. I think this example will make it clearer, hopefully. So I like drinking coffee. Okay, so it's kind of something general, right? But if you want to be a bit more specific about your preference, like this example, I like to add cinnamon to my coffee, right? It's just that little bit specific. That's your preference, right? And that maybe other people don't like to do. Okay, so you just want to show your preference. Okay, so let's think about that example in a bit more detail. Okay, and that's it for this lesson. Hello everyone, and in this video we're going to look at would like, so English grammar, sentence structure, and rules. Okay, so let's look at how to use would like. So we'll look at the rules and the structure. First, let's look at an example. I would like to eat sushi. I would like plus infinitive to eat. Okay, and it is a polite way to show your preference. Okay, so you say, I would like to go to the cinema now. That is your preference. Okay, and let's look at some questions now. We use would you like to offer something. Okay, would you like? So let's look at some examples. Would you like to go to the cinema? Okay, it's an offer. Would you like some coffee? Would you like an apple? Okay, would you like an apple? I'm offering something to you. And then we can make this a little bit shorter. We could say I'd like. Okay, I would like is equal to I'd like. I'd like to eat some cake. Okay, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Hello everyone, and in this video we're going to look at imperatives in English. Okay, so we're going to look first at the use and the structure, how to use the imperative. So the imperative is used for commands or orders. Okay, so it's when your teacher tells you something or your boss tells you something. It's like, do this now. Okay, and we use the base form of the verb, and there is no subject. Okay, so what does that mean? We use the base. It's like the infinitive, but there's no to, right? So to do, it's just do, and there is no subject. You don't need to say you. It's just do your homework. Okay, Let's look at some examples. Hurry up, we are late. Okay, so it's just hurry up. There is no subject there. Let's look at another example. Call me later. Okay, so this is for you to call me later, but the subject of the sentence we don't use. We just use the verb call in the base form. Pick up the rubbish. Okay, so it's an order, right? Pick up the rubbish. Okay, you can see in the picture there, they are picking up the rubbish. Okay, so let's look at different uses for the imperative, right? So the first one is the commands, right? So sit down, brush the floor. Listen to the tone of my voice as well, okay? Sit down, brush the floor. Then we also use imperatives in requests. It's like, do your homework, please. Take this to your father. Take this to your father. Okay, for requests. And other uses are for warnings. Okay, when you are in danger, something is happening that is very dangerous. So watch out for that car. Don't touch that. Okay, usually it's very fast, right? Because it's something happening at the moment. It's very dangerous. Okay, practice that. Watch out for that car. Don't touch that. Okay, and we also use imperative for suggestions. You know, these are like suggestions that are almost like a command, right? It's like, have a beer. Okay, it's almost like a command, but it's a suggestion. And take a coat with you. Okay, it's almost like a command, right? But it is a suggestion. Okay, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Hello everybody, and in this video we're going to talk about comparative adjectives. Okay, so these are adjectives that we use to compare things. Okay, and we're going to talk about the rules, and we're also going to practice a little bit with some exercises. Okay, so let's think about comparative adjectives. So what are comparative adjectives and when do we use them? We use them when we compare two different things. Okay, you want to compare one thing with another thing. Okay, let's look at the rules. So if the adjective is short, right, if it's a short word, then we add e or. Okay, think about that word short. Short is one syllable adjective, so we would say short is the adjective plus or, shorter. So let's look at the example here. I am taller than you. I am taller than you. Okay, and then if it's a longer word with two or more syllables, okay, so it's like beautiful, that's three syllables, right? Then we use more plus the adjective, okay? She is more beautiful than her mother. Okay, so more plus the longer adjective. Okay, then there are exceptions to this rule, which are words that end in Y. Okay, so words that end in Y, you drop the Y, okay, you take away the Y, and you add IE or. So if you think about easy, EASY, there's Y is gone, no more Y, and you add IE or. Okay, so EASIE or, easier. Okay, let's look at another example here. I am happier than my sister. Okay, so happy, the Y, you drop the Y and you add IE or. Okay, let's practice a little bit. So let's do some exercises here together. Okay, so let's look at number one. The coffee is very weak. I would like it. Okay, what adjective do we need here? Probably strong, right? Strong. So how do you use the comparative form of strong? One syllable. Stronger. Okay, I would like it stronger. Let's look at number two. The car was very cheap. I expected it to be, what's the opposite of cheap? Expensive. Okay, so expensive. That's 3 syllables, so we need to use more, right? I expected it to be more expensive. You are standing too near the door. Can you move a bit? This is an exception, this one. Further away. Okay, so we have far and then further or farther is a very exception, big exception, this one. But in this case, I would use further. Can you move a bit further away? Your project isn't very good. I am sure you can do. This is also an exception. So good and better. Okay, so better is the comparative adjective of good. I am sure you can do better. Okay, so there are a few of these exceptions, so it's important that you learn these exceptions too. School is a bit boring sometimes. I wish it was a bit, what's the opposite of boring? Probably interesting, right? I wish it was a bit more interesting. Okay, interesting is a longer adjective. Okay, let's look at the next one. So more exercises 2. So pause the video now and do the exercise by yourself. Okay, did you do the exercise? Let's do it together now. It's too loud in here. Can we go somewhere quieter? The coffee is very weak. I like it stronger, right? We had that in the first one. The hotel was surprisingly big. I expected it to be smaller. The hotel was surprisingly cheap. I expected it to be more expensive. The weather is too cold here. I'd like to live somewhere hotter. My job is a bit boring sometimes. I'd like to do something more interesting. Okay, that's it for this video. Practice more exercises if you can find them. There will be more exercises on my website, as you can see above here, www.oneminuteenglish.org. So in this video, we're going to talk about the rules and also do some exercises, okay? So let's just remember a little bit about superlative and comparative adjectives. So comparative adjectives, they compare one thing with another thing, okay? But superlative adjectives compare one thing with all the rest of the things, okay? In that group, or it could be in the world, right? All of the rest, this one thing and all of the rest of the things. Okay, so let's look at the table here. So you can see that it's similar to comparative adjectives, right? Just a little bit different. So if the word is short and it's one syllable, okay, then we use the plus adjective plus est. Okay, so I am the tallest in the class. All right, we add the tallest, and we add est as well to tall. So if it's short, for example, then you say I am the shortest in the class. Okay, let's look at longer words now. So we have 2 syllables. So we have the most plus adjective. Okay, so let's look at the example. She is the most beautiful girl in the world. Okay, so we compare this girl with all the other girls in the world. Okay, and then again, there are exceptions, especially with words that end in Y. So words that end in Y, you drop the Y again and you add IEST. So I am the happiest person in the world. Okay, I am the happiest person in the world, right? And again, there are some other exceptions as well. Some different adjectives that are different, right? The most common one is good, better, comparative, and the best, okay, in the superlative. Let's try some exercises here. Okay, so it's a very cheap bar. It's something bar in the city. Okay, so we need cheap here in the superlative. So cheap is a short word, right? So what is it? It's the cheapest bar in the city. Okay, it's the cheapest bar in the city. It was a very happy day. It was, this is the word with Y, the happiest day of my life. The happiest day of my life. Don't forget the. It was the happiest day of my life. Number 3. She's a very intelligent girl. She's the most intelligent girl in her school. Okay, intelligent, right? Longer words, we need the most plus adjective, right? She's the most intelligent girl in her school. Okay, let's look at number 4. It's a very beautiful painting. It's the most beautiful painting in the world. Okay, let's look at number 5. Spring is a very busy time for me. It's the busiest time of the year. It's the busiest time of the year. Okay, I hope those exercises help, and there will be more exercises coming soon on my website www.oneminuteenglish.org. Okay, let's talk soon.